Do you ever suffer from imposter syndrome? I've been feeling a little bit of that this week, so I'm going into my first set of legislative sessions as legislative counsel here at the Institute for Justice. I'm still pretty new out of law school, only graduated in 2022, still only been barred for a couple of years. So it's quite intimidating sometimes. I was at an event today where a lot of the great and the good of the Texas legal community where I was at, an investiture ceremony for the newly created 15th Court of Appeals that happened in the Texas Capitol over there. So a lot of kind of very important people. There were state Supreme Court judges there, past and present. There were state legislators, representatives, and senators, just very eminent lawyers as well. And it just struck me while I was there, in a couple of weeks' time, I will be busy having meetings in that building, trying to work with state legislators to promote our bills, try and get them to hopefully sponsor some of our bills and work on them so that they can become law to improve liberty and prosperity for all Texans, and then doing the same thing in all different state houses around the country as well, and often interacting with people who are a lot more experienced than me, far more accomplished than me, better educated and better credentialed in a lot of cases as well. So it can be quite intimidating, and I think particularly in the legal field as well, where there's a certain amount of elitism that I didn't necessarily expect coming here, because you think, America, land of opportunity, land of meritocracy, particularly compared to Britain, where I'm from, which is still slightly a more class-based society in some ways. But there is in the legal profession here still definitely that element of snobbery in some cases and credentialism. And just the fact that, working somewhere like the Institute for Justice, I work with very brilliant people who are at the absolute top of their game. So there is a certain pressure to do a good job, and we have important institutional priorities that we want to advance. So I do certainly feel the pressure. But when I have these moments, and I think it probably happened to a lot of new lawyers, I just step back and then try and concentrate on the specific task at hand. So my past background and professional background was a management consultant, so I'm very used to breaking down big complex tasks into small achievable bites. I did a lot of project management back in the day, so whenever I start to feel myself getting a little bit overwhelmed by the burden of the the importance of the work that I have to do and what rides on it, because quite a lot does ride on the passage of some of these bills. If some of the bills that we promote succeed, then it can make a difference for hundreds, even thousands of people. If they fail, then it's another year or two till we can try again, and that makes a tangible difference to people's lives sometimes. So and that's absolutely why I wanted to pursue this career rather than doing what I did before, right? I wanted to make a difference for society. I wanted to give back to my new adopted country. But it does come with a certain amount of pressure doing that, a pressure to succeed, a pressure to live up to expectations. So when I feel that kind of pressure, I just try and break my tasks down into small, discrete, achievable parts. And then when I focus more on the granularity, then some of that pressure I feel and some of that stress goes away. And then I feel like I'm making progress. So I'd be interested to know what survival techniques other newly qualified lawyers might have when it comes to feeling imposter syndrome, particularly if you're working in a high pressure, high prestige, some might say, job where you're working with a lot of brilliant, smart, high achieving people, and you kind of feel that need to keep up and perform. I'd love to know if you have other survival tips. I'll certainly be relying on some of them if you do have some to share with me as we go through the sessions and the Texas legislative session and the others around the country, because it's going to be a busy time for me. So I'd love to hear about your survival tips on dealing with imposter syndrome, and that's some of mine. Thanks.